at this time, it becomes necessary to consider these things even via the means that we are doing it now, and be it a personal research that you want to do, right? Because there are negative effects to these things, and hence the reason why to take it seriously. Okay, so I would go on to share the next slide. Okay, excuse me. All right, so here I have a quote, and it says, "Be yourself. Don't worry about what other people are thinking of you, because they're probably feeling the same kind of scared, horrible feelings that everyone does." So this quote simply puts an emphasis on the need to be ourselves. That's the first thing, right? And what will make you be yourself is recognizing the uniqueness of the person that you are, as well as how different you are from every other person around you, right? And then it also says, don't worry about what other people are thinking. I'm very sure that most of us here, if not all of us, have experienced worrying about what other people are thinking of us. Whatever it is that we need to do, we are worried. What's this person going to say? And then by that way, it's either because of the circle of friends we have around us, and then, or maybe not necessarily even the circle of friends. It could just be people that we find ourselves in the midst of, right? So you've gone through secondary school, you've gone through primary, secondary, university, and at every point in time, you're surrounded by people that are different from you. And before we even go into the peer pressure itself, you by yourself are thinking thoughts, right? But it's as a result of the people you have around you. So what exactly is peer pressure? Can anybody, I just want us, I'm sure we're all bold speakers here, right? What do you understand by a peer? Who is a peer? Can we get people respond? So our host, our speakers, our participants. Okay, somebody has. Thank you, Mojupe. Please go ahead.
Hi, ma'am.
You can go ahead. You have the floor. Good evening.
Yeah, a peer, I would say a peer is someone you belong to the same social class or group, I think. Yeah. Something like your colleagues
Yeah,
at school,
brilliant.
your friends. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, your friends, right? People that you have something in common with, right? Those are your peers. So they may not necessarily be your friend. They could be people, like you said, classmates, colleagues, right? Even at place of work. It could be church members maybe at your youth group or your teens church or the teens church, as long as you have something in common. So it could be your age, it could be the gender, it could be what else? What else, guys? Anything else? What else could we possibly have in common with other people? Anyone? The love for something, right? The love for food, right? The love for a particular kind of music. Do we understand? Or maybe personality. I think that's another thing. The kind of person that we are. Oh, I love to go to the beach, right? And then you just look out and you find people. So all of these things come into play in where we now have pressure. The pressure aspect, right, is where the people around you sort of like have an influence, right, as to the decisions that you're making. Now, are they influencing you in a positive or a negative way? So let me just go on to my next slide here so that we see it. Here you have where it says, in what ways have you handled peer pressure, right? What ways have we handled peer pressure? And as somebody said, sorry, not somebody, Majuka said earlier, these people you have something in common with, right? So it's either they're positively influencing you or they are negatively influencing you. And that's the bad side to peer pressure. And that's why we have to overcome it, right? Maybe not the positive, but the negative aspects of peer pressure is what we need to overcome, right? So, in what ways have we been able to, have you handled peer pressure? Can anybody tell us here before I go on to share what ways we can handle it? Maybe your experience. I can share mine. Do I go first or are we going to go first? Who is another bold speaker? I'm identifying the bold speakers in the meeting. Any other person? Any other bold speaker? Emanuela, Deborah, John Ola. Okay. All right. Okay. So let me share my own experience. So how have I handled peer pressure, even as an adult, right? Or maybe I should first of all share my experience as a teenager, right? So we all are common with the fact that they say, train up a child. I don't know if you're common with that. It's actually a scripture verse. If you're common with it, can I see your hand? If it's something you're familiar with, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he's not going to depart from it. Does anybody know that statement? Okay, Mutipe, great. So I was privileged to go to a boarding house. I said privileged because in a way I kind of like I'm biased to going to the boarding house compared to being a day student for the secondary school education. So there are times where my um I and my colleagues, right, or my friends, yes, we like to go and have fun. We like to, that's in secondary school because our school was way behind and we had the seminary present. I actually schooled in Smith International um, Baptist Academy, right, in Oyo State. Perhaps it rings a bell to some of you. That was where I schooled. And in a way, we violated a rule, right? So we were told not to go to some place. And we actually went there and we even took pictures. And lo and behold, somebody was playing the detective in finding out people that had violated that rule, right? And they wrote down our name, and I was signed to face the house mistress. And my colleagues were saying, we need to just come up. They were coming up with different ways of dodging whatever punishment we take, right? And I was not bold enough to write and tell the truth of what actually happened, right? Now, I was to the person raised me.
Hello, ma.
So
Hello. Sorry. Okay, she has gone. I actually want to tell her if she can put off her video so as to. Okay, let's hope that she will join us back in a few seconds. Sorry for that. We are in Nigeria. We have to bear with each other. So hopefully she will join us back in a few seconds. So it's due to some network glitches, and she'll be back in a few minutes, hopefully. So I believe we are learning some things already. and we are already getting into the cruise of the matter, peer pressure. So she's currently sharing with us her experience with this issue of peer pressure while she was in school. So I, as an individual, also, I experienced some pressures growing up. Okay, I believe she's back now. Okay, in fact, pressure to what I did.
Okay.
There is a lot of pressure on the internet,
The
sorry.
internet. Okay. Abiel, thank you, thank you.
All
Okay,
right,
so I
probably
will
you
just go ahead and
should
share my
put,
screen
okay,
again.
yeah.
Thank you guys for your patience.
So you can switch off your
Okay, I
video
should turn
after
up my
sharing.
video.
Yes, after you have
Okay. All
shared
right,
the
I'll do
screen.
that.
All right, so that you
All
could
right, I'll
reduce
do
the
that.
bandwidth. Yeah,
I'll
thank
do
you.
that. Thank you. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So I am sharing my screen. Yes. Thank you guys. So just to call bypass whatever punishment was going to be given to my kid with me that I want to remember and even share, right? So no matter what is happening in any place, it becomes a big deal for me to hold on to the person that I am. I have something, a quote I tell myself now is be true to who you are, regardless of the actions or inactions of other people. You might want to pin that down. Be true to who you are, regardless of the actions or inactions of people, right? So peer pressure is something that happens even right here in the workplace, right?
Okay, sorry about that. She has gone offline again. So she just gave us a very wonderful quote. Be true to who you are, regardless of what happened or what doesn't happen. I think that's a great quote. Be true to who you are. So it's about you. It's about the way you respond. It's not necessarily about what happens to you. It's just like when we put the blame on our dearest country, Nigeria, because in Nigeria, there is a lot of pressure. There is a lot of pressure in Nigeria. And if you put the blame on Nigeria, you will not get anything good done. That's just the truth. So if we continue to blame Nigeria, we will not get anything done. So we have to be true to ourselves, regardless of the actions or the inactions of people. So if our leaders are doing well, if they are not doing well, it's about you. You have to change. If you change, for you to change anything, you must change. You is about your response. It's not what happens that really matters. It's your response to what happens. So you have to be true to yourselves. You have to know your values. You have to know your ideals. You have to know what you live by. Be true to yourselves. Okay, she's back now. All right, you can take over.
Okay, so I actually changed my internet. I hope this one doesn't experience pressure. I hope it stays stable. All right, thank you so much, guys, for your patience. Please, can we see my screen? Can
Yes,
we
we
see my
can.
screen? Okay,
Yes,
great. So I was just saying that it's important. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. So it's so important to be true to who we are, right? So the quote I said, I'll say it again, is be true to who you are, regardless of the actions or inactions of people around you. And what does that say? You need to know who you are. And how do you even come to know who you are? You have to decide the kind of person that you want to be. We need to decide the kind of persons that we want to be. That's how we're able to handle peer pressure. So for me, I take it is a big deal. I mean, my growing up years, from childhood to young adulthood now, has played a big role when it comes to how to be able to handle peer pressure, right? So besides the fact that my parents laid that foundation, I also decided, that's why I said it comes to self-awareness as well, right? Be true to who you are. So who are you? That's another question we need to ask, or we need to be able to answer. Who am I? When you decide who you are, you will not be bothered by the people around you or the way they live their lives or what else, what they say. You would be careful as to how much influence it has in your life as a person. Remember, I've said before that we have the positive and we also have the negative aspects of peer pressure. So, of course, I can also say that peer pressure has positively impacted me. But then it boils down to the person that I am. So I need to know who I am. That would also determine the kind of people I allow into my inner circle and how much power I would allow them wield in molding me to become even a better person than the person that I am. So yes, we know who we are and we want to be better, right? So peer pressure is happening every day. Even I myself, I have peers and I make sure that I'm positively influencing my peers, right? And also, every one of us here have friends, right? We can also, so when it comes to handling peer pressure, it might be for you or it might be for another person. So for me, I have my friends and I look out for my friends, right? If I see somebody coming to negatively impact, right, my friend, I'm bold enough to speak out to that person. That's my friend. Maybe not the other person that is negatively influencing my friend because I am more concerned about the person that is my friend. Are we together, guys? Can we hear me? Please, if you can either voice out or you can drop it in the chat so that I know that we are following me because it's important. We're going on this journey together, right? So I'm still speaking about in what ways have, now it's me that's been doing most of the talking, not you guys, but in what ways have you handled peer pressure? That's the question. Thank you, Majupe, and thank you, Shea Goziem. Okay, yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Emanuela. Yes, great. So what I'm actually building on as I'm definitely not going to restrict eight because I joined late, but I'm going to do my best to hit on very important aspects of this session, right? So what ways have I handled peer pressure? Another thing that is a big deal for us, right, is social media. Yes. So if you've been pressured by social media, it's human beings that are on social media, right? Humans, everybody that is an influencer is a human being. I don't think right now we have robots, right, that have accounts on social media. They're all humans, right? Humans are behind all the Instagram handles that we see. So let me ask, and I'm going to just give like 2 minutes or maybe 1 minute. In what ways have you handled peer pressure on social media? Anyone? Anyone? Or you want to speak out? No one is speaking. Yeah, the bold speakers. I'm looking out for the bold speakers. So, yeah, the bold speakers.
Hello, everybody. I hope you can hear me.
Hello.
Yeah,
Yes, we
I think I
can.
got your question. That how have we handled peer pressure? Is it basically on social
Yes.
media or generally?
Well, so I was speaking about social media.
Okay.
How we handle
So
peer pressure on social media.
yeah, I get that. It's for me. I will definitely confess that sometimes it is a struggle actually
Mm-hmm.
but I also weigh things. I see things beyond what we can see. Like I look into things deeply, and I feel like, okay, this person has a different journey with, I mean, that is different from my journey. If they are doing well,
Mm-hmm.
I had to pray about it at a point because I was not happy about myself. I was just like, what am I doing with
Mm-hmm.
myself? But with time, I just have to accept myself, but at the same time, I'm not relenting. Like I'm trying to do as much as I can do, learning things every day, like
Mm-hmm.
continuous learning to just get better. So I just try to celebrate those who are doing well in my own way. Like I celebrate them. If I see you do something, if I
Mm.
can leave a comment or like your post or something, if I can learn something new from you, why not? I'll learn, and I'll just see how I can be positive, stay positive to you, and also pick one lesson or the other. But I also just
That's the
weigh
other.
like, okay, this person that is doing this, if they are doing really well, if it is something I would like to do or just something I appreciate, okay, how can I also do better and all of that? So
Mm.
that's it, Sha.
Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you. So what I actually picked, or the points I picked is, now you said the way you've been able to handle it is to celebrate with other people, right? Based on where they are or the good things that you've observed. And then secondly, you also try and look at who you are and in what ways can you be better, right? So you're seeing a lot of things, or you're seeing, observing things on social media, right? And you're careful to decide what it is you can take to add to yourself to be a better person, right? So that's another way you
Yes.
handle, yes. So it's a good thing. I'm so happy that you mentioned celebrating other people, right? Because sometimes it's either we allow the good that's happening in other people to make us feel bad, or we can join them to feel good. And in joining others to feel good, you understand, you're making yourself happy. You're having a positive mindset, and you're even able to initiate conversations with those people to get so much more from them. But a lot of people might see somebody that is doing well. People will even become so depressed. They'll say, let me unfollow this person. Well, that's one way, right? And I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm saying we always have to look back to ourselves and understand what works for us based on the people that we are. So for me, that's really how I've been able to handle. I mean, I always look inward, always, always look inward. So I have friends, but I always try to see where I'm going. And I'm happy you also said she prayed. So I'm also very strong when it comes to my faith. My faith influences the person that I am. It influences the decisions that I make, even when handling peer pressure, right? Because peer pressure is inevitable. So, having said all of this, the next thing I just want us to look at briefly is, I have just, please, our host, how many minutes do I have left? Because I know I'm factoring in the fact that I joined late. So just let me know how many more minutes. I'm wrapping up already. Uh,
Okay, thank you.
no,
So,
how many more minutes do I have?
all right, we can give you
5.
5 minutes more.
Okay, all right, thank you. So I'm just
All
wrapping up
right,
quickly. Thank you,
thank you.
everyone. Okay, so here I have, right, the ways, right? These are just ways we can handle peer pressure. You're not by yourself. The fact is, in every of the people that we have around, all the peers we have around us, we can decide to, put the good people around ourselves, right? Which is very key. So what's the first thing I have here is to talk directly, right? So if anybody is trying to pressure you into doing something, you need to be able to voice out. You need to be able to speak to the situation, right? Now you're not talking rudely to the person. right? But you're saying it in such a way that the person understands that you're firm about who you are. Now, the person that you are, on the choices that you're making, and the fact that you're not going to allow them to pressure you into doing what you do not want to do. The second one is no, right? So like the Bible says, let your yes be yes, let your no be no. So you need to be clear about that. Once you've said no, be clear about it. It is no, right? So for me, I can remember when I became very intentional, even about social media, I just looked at my Instagram, my first post before I joined the meeting, and it was, "What does your Instagram say about you?" That was my first post, because at that point, I'd come to a decision where I said I want to be intentional about everything that I'm doing, right? So I focus everything I'm doing on, even on social media, right? Or as far as I allow my social networks influence me, it all boils down to the person that I am and what image I want to project for myself. So back to no is no. If I've said I want to do something this way, I have to stick with it and not allow anybody come and tweak it and make it a lukewarm no that would give room for those things that I'm trying to keep away from myself. Then communicating with parents is also very key. One of the things I decided I was going to do is to foster a good relationship with my parents, right? So, and why? We might feel, oh, we're adults. Do we need to bring our parents into all of these things? Well, it varies. It depends. Why are parents important? They were the ones that raised us, right? And one thing I know is always stay connected to the source, right? Except the source is faulty, quote, right? And I'm careful when I say that. But you have had a good upbringing. Please, by all means, maintain that communication with your parents. They are wise. They'll be able to advise you. They've faced all the things that you're facing. Maybe not all exactly, but they be able to understand and offer advice where necessary. And the last one is developing a strong personality, right? When you talk about your values, what are your values? What are your principles? So for me, this last point is very closely related to communicating with my parents because my parents raised me. My parents helped me to have strong values. My parents helped me to be a person that's principled. So it becomes very hard for someone to just come and say, do this. No, I would always give careful thoughts to the things that I want to do. And I do things with the fact that, yes, there's a goal, right? So my values shape me to be the person that I am and help me to be someone that can be able to manage, right? And handle peer pressure no matter what kind of peer pressure comes. So I hope that with this different points that I have shared, that we're always, yes, Emmanuel, thank you. Always stay connected to the right source. So just briefly, I just feel the need to say about the second point, communicating with your parents. It's not every one of I've had friends. There was a time I had like all my friends. The first one, my very close friend in secondary school, was someone that was from a broken home, right? And in a way, well, I had to still be able to manage, right? I don't even understand the point. But for every kind of peer we have around us, we can choose to be the peer that will positively influence others. So that was what I chose to be. My parents are still together, but my friend did not have it that way. Even the next friend I had in university did not have it that way. But we're still able to make something beautiful out of our friendship. And we are still friends. Do you get? So, what I'm trying to say is, regardless of whatever the background may have been, we can still choose to be connected to a right source. I'm trying to lay emphasis on what Emanuela put on the charts, right? It's very key, guys. So please, I hope that with this point, I would like to wrap up now. I don't want to overshoot the 5 minutes I was given. So I hope that we've been able to address this point as to how to overcome peer pressure and social influence. And I do hope that you've been able to put this to practice as you continue on your journey in life. Thank you, everyone. So if you have questions, I will take them and I'll just hand over to the moderator at this point. Thank you so much, everyone.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for that wonderful delivery. So please, if you have any question, kindly let us know by signifying. You can raise your hand or you put it in the chat section. Then you'll be allowed to ask your question. So if you have any question, kindly let me know. Can we quickly do that? So thank you so much, Ma. Thank you for that amazing delivery. Thank you for the great value we have been able to get tonight. So I believe every one of us have been able to gain one or two things. And I believe this will help us to make informed decision when we are passing through different series of pressures that might come our way as we grow. So do we have question from anybody before I proceed? You have a question. Okay, Manuela, you can ask your question. Or are you trying to type it? Okay, so we take your question as soon as you finish typing it. So you can go ahead and type your question. So while we wait for Emanuela to finish typing his question, do we have any other person that want to ask a question? Okay, so it's like, all right, so let me read out Emanuela's question. My question is, how can I positively influence other people on social media? How can I positively influence other people on social media? So our speaker is here to answer that. All right, Ma, can you go ahead and provide an answer?
Yes, I will. Thank you so much, Emanuela, for that question. So yes, how can you positively influence other people on social media? It still boils down to your values as a person, right? Your values and the decision to positively influence people, right? So in a way, you have decided, there has to be a goal for anything. It says that where there is no vision, right? How does the Bible say it, if anybody remembers? People without a vision, is it perish or can anybody remind me? Hello, any Bible scholar here? Or even if you're not, maybe you just know about it. Okay, yeah, perish, right? Where there's no vision, the people perish. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's it. We have a goal problem. Can we still hear me, please? Just checking. I think they lost me already.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so I was saying where there is no vision, where there is no goal, anything will just be anything goes. And that's not being intentional, right? So even if it's for business, even business people, they want to add value. So I think there is choose to add value to people on social media, whatever way it is. Because a lot of people are on social media looking for answers, looking for solution to problems, right? So if you choose to solve problem in whatever way, people are looking at stress, just maybe identify one problem you've noticed. Okay, maybe all the people that are following you, right? You have friends that are following you. Maybe you can see, okay, what does this person like to read? Or what does this person post? It will give you an idea as to, okay, what problem can I solve? So for me, I'm very intentional. I sometimes talk about myself. So I talk about I talk about my values as a person. I post about my values. I post about things that I love. I post about things that help me become better. Right? That's one way I manage myself on social media. So I want to be a positive influence to people. So just to summarize it, how can you positively influence people? You need to choose or identify a way that you can actually drive that that vision or that goal that you want to achieve, which is to positively influence other people. And I've already said, identify a problem that you observe are present in the lives of people that are within your sphere, and then choose to use social media to address this problem. Because that's what businesses do, right? That's what businesses on social media do. They don't just even post about their businesses. They try to see how they can add value through what they do to the lives of the people that are following them. I hope I've been able to answer your question. All right. Thank you. I hand over to the moderator. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you for that wonderful answers you have provided. Okay, so I believe, Emmanuel, you are satisfied with the answer. All right, so we will be calling it a day on tonight's webinar. But before we do that, I would like to, let's stop the sharing first.
Okay.
Emanuela, you want to say something? Okay, all right.
Okay, she said she has another question.
All right, so you can go ahead. How can I help people or friends who have issues with their values and have low self-esteem with overcoming peer pressure, especially now that different social media platforms is available and with so many social media trends going on? Wow. Okay, that's the question.
Oh yes, that's another good question. So from what I can even sense, you've already identified the problems, right? So you've seen that they have issues with values, they have issues with low self-esteem, they have issues with overcoming what we've discussed, right? So perhaps, so one of the things I told myself is, yes, social media is great, but life is not all social media. So if these people are people that you really know physically, right, I would say you can kindly start from there. Because that was one of the things I decided to do, right? So as much as I have social media, all my friends on social media, and they see my posts, I try to work on the personal relationship. I mean, the one that really makes sense, which is outside social media, the real friendship, right? So I look for how to talk to them about those things. But then please post by all means, so if you have been able to solve these problems for yourself, because that's what I do. Things I've solved for myself. I'm bold to talk about in social media. And I've heard people will just send messages to me and tell me your posts, are always encouraging. Thank you for your consistency. So please, by all means, do that too. Right? Just post about those things you've observed in your friends. But it makes more sense when you have been able to deal personally with those things, right? Because you're going to be speaking from a place of your heart where it will flow to other people and be a blessing to them, right? So well done on identifying the issues. I hope you go on to start solving those problems. All the best. Thank you again. I hand over to the moderator.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you. So Emanuela, you've been able to discover a problem, and who knows, probably God is calling you to provide solutions to many people in that area. So you can go ahead, trust the Holy Spirit to help you with that. And from everything you have learned also from the speaker today, I believe that can help you. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for your time. It has been a great time with every one of us. And so many people might not really know why we have to organize a webinar like this. I know we are at a time when people love topics like how to make millions of naira in a week. That's another pressure on its own. So they want to listen to that. But when it comes to valuable issues like this, you might see people not trying to turn up for it. But we don't care so much about that because we are not driven by pressures. We are not driven by external things. We are driven much more by the impact we can give out. And we believe there are some people that needs that. And I must tell you that you are blessed to be listening to everything you have listened to today. So thank you so much. We'll join us again. We want you to join us again next week. Probably next week, let me just tell us what we'll be having next week, the topic we are planning to come up with. So gradually, we are moving to the aspect of personal development. So we'll be starting a series on personal development come next week. And it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be an interactive session. So we'll be having a sort of panelist kind of webinar. So you will be allowed to ask questions and there will be people around to answer your questions. We'll be coming up with people that they have been able to work on themselves, to develop themselves personally, people that most of them will be coming up with people that are self-taught. I, for instance, that I'm speaking here, I did not go to school to study digital marketing. I did not go to school to study programming, but I can do all these things now because I've been able to develop myself personally. So we'll be able to learn what are the ways, what are the disciplines you should have in order to develop yourself personally. Because we can't continue to complain about our nation, as I have said at some point. You must focus on you. You must focus on yourself. It is when you change that everything changes. So if you did not change, nothing will change. So it's about you. It's not about the economy. It's not about the country. It's not about your state. It's not about your environment. It's not about your parents. It's about you as an individual, what you are doing about your situations. So we'll be coming up with personal development, how you can bring value to the marketplace. We know that many of us have values. You have values in different areas. You have values religiously. You have values in your church. You have values in your family. You have values to your friend. But the reality is, how can you be valuable in the marketplace? That is the reality. How do you ensure that your knowledge is something that is productive enough for people to be able to give you their money in exchange? Because people don't dash money. People don't give money for free. You have to be able to bring a value to the marketplace to be able to get money in return. So we'll be going into personal development. What are some things you should learn? And it will amaze you that personal development is not just about learning hard skills. So it's not only about learning the tech skills, learning all this programming, learning graphic design, learning web development, all those things. There are some important soft skills that we must have also. For instance, you need to take a sales course, sorry. You can't be a graduate and you don't know how to sell. If you don't know how to sell, it will be very difficult for you to thrive in the marketplace. So one of the major things you must develop yourself in is how to sell. And they don't teach it in school. Financial literacy is a very important knowledge that you must have. They don't teach it in school. How to manage money, they don't teach it in school. In fact, it was just recently that I was opportuned to be sat down, to be trained very well by one of my colleagues, a friend of mine, on some financial things that I did not even know about before. And it helped me. So all these things are part of what we'll be discussing come next week and the following weeks. So I want to encourage us, let's join us again next week. And our July cohort of Tech Foundation, I mentioned it last week. So the July cohort is starting on Monday. We already have some people that have registered, but if you still want to join us, maybe let me just join share the flyer. So if you still want to join the Tech Foundation, you have between now and Monday to join. You have between now and Monday to join. The Tech Foundation Bootcamp is basically for beginners, for people who are just trying to get their feet wet in the tech industry. So you will be learning about Excel for data analytics, data analysis. You will learn about graphic design, web design, digital marketing, conversational AI. So these are part of the things you will be learning in the program. And beyond this, we want to change your mindset. We want to help your mindset about tech. We want to help you to build the right mindset about tech, because tech is not just what people are talking about. It's not just what everybody is going into. No, there are some things you should know about it to get yourself prepared so that you will not find yourself in the river of tech and you cannot swim. So there are some people that are already being drowned by tech. So they are into tech, but it seems as if they have been scammed. So you can deliver yourself from such kind of situation. So, and that's why we are coming up with this foundational course. So if you still want to join us, the cost of the program is 20,000 naira. So very cheap, very cheap. We have tried to subsidize it so that it can be easier for everyone that is just getting started to be able to get the required knowledge. So that's about the Tech Foundation Bootcamp. So thank you very much. Thank you to every one of us that have attended tonight's webinar. I want to celebrate us all. And I must say, we are really glad that you are here. To our speaker, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you. We are very sorry for the misinformation about the timing. And that's, I must say thank you so much for trying to make it at this time. So I want to celebrate us all. Mr. John Ola, Miss Emanuela, Miss Mudupe, Miss Deborah, to everyone watching us on Facebook, thank you for joining us tonight. So this will be a wrap from my side here. And I must say it has been a great time with every one of us. So while we go, as we used to do at the end of the webinar, if you can on your camera, you can on your camera, just say good night to everybody. Thank you, and God bless us all. So who's going first? All right, it's like many people did not want to on their camera tonight. Okay, good night.
Okay, thank you,
All right,
everyone.
thanks.
It's been a
Good
great,
night.
awesome time here. Have a good night rest,
Yeah.
everyone. Bye.
So thank you so much.
Bye.
All right, good night, Mudupe Shola. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, everybody.